Good day, good day. Wow, what an interesting information. Second video of the day. Okay, right. This phone has been restarted and it's shining on the ceiling because it's damn cold. Be prepared for the end of this forthcoming weekend by next Wednesday, United Kingdom. By the way, just going off subject slightly. The snow is going to hit and it's going down to 5 degrees at night. So get your winter woolies out even more for disabled people, United Kingdom, and wherever you are, be extremely conscious and cautious. Right, I'm going into what I found out. Well, it's not just me, actually. My private friends are trying to care for me, found out for me today. Is the police being privatised? Public services. Is it just this area, United Kingdom, or is it throughout United Kingdom, or I should say, correction, East United Kingdom? There is no longer an area digital age. Oh gosh, this is my experience since I reported the theft of my body by my late mum's brooch, and the way it happened, I was targeted deliberately and by unknown male with the 2 females next to him. Now, no real criticisms against the initial call handlers, the call centre, I found now eventually an email. Why can't they just give the information out for vulnerable disabled people in the United Kingdom that they need? Well, had to do some homework. And in a way, good job my phone crashed on me because it gave the opportunity for my mate to look at my laptop to have a look around for me today. So, this is what we found, the second video of the day. There is no such thing as victim support in your community anymore. It's all privatisation by the I think next time round, depending on my situation, I might just stand for, I can't stand, but I might just put in and try to get assistance to get in that position. Because of my personal experience all these years of victim of crime of serious nature. And let's get this out in the open now, because I've just been a target on a beacon for these local connections and political people just on my case all these years. Well, I think 2009 plus, God forbid, whatever happens, I think I have it every bloody right, to depend when the elections are coming around quick, because who's got a voice for the vulnerable disabled people in your area? Who's speaking up for them? I'm no longer, since the phone's been reset, I'm not using Facebook anymore. Well, that's gone now, so I'm just mainly everything's monitored. The social media, Google Plus, everything's just on its way out. I have skills years ago in media and PR, so I'm just going to try and get my personal health stabilised and situation I need. I got some information which will help for the new year. Give it a couple of weeks or so into the new year, and I'm going to set up that website. And I shall be going with my former birth given name publicly, and to get out there. I know it's hard times for all new frontline employees in the job line. They mean well, they're just doing their job, but they don't realise that vulnerable disabled people need the extra assistance, but they're using a computerised system. What's your name, what's your date of birth, and all the usual, because they need that. They link up in my area, for example. They already know who is classed in statute law as a vulnerable adult, or obviously the family with children, for example. And I've had this whole experience of targeting individually towards me in areas of blocking access to goods and services lawfully, and I know I do meet certain criteria, but this is deliberate at me personally, very personal. I'll tell you why. When I was able-bodied, I stuck up for the underdog. I stuck up for my family members and my children at the time, they were younger, years and years ago, but I was very politically minded. I've just always been like that, and not anymore, obviously, for a long time. So that's just why I never got any justice for a victim of serious crime, and years ago, and ever since, because I was outspoken. I got trained up in PR media, and from previous contacts and Freemasons, and my ex-husband was one. I posted one of those videos up. And obviously I'm different now. Obviously, when you get older and things happen, you change. But the short memories and the local people I know about and know of, not personally anymore, but know of. And I found an old newspaper article. I don't know if it's a collection of my late mum's photographs my older brother gave me. I can't remember now. But I found it, and it was dated 2003. Well, she was very much, not speaking ill of my mum. She had her failings in her personality. I mean, we all do. We're just ordinary individuals. We're just trying to get on. But I'm quite impressed with the younger generation, the cadets bringing in. I mean, that seems to be quite interesting, the way they're doing things nowadays. And I hope things will improve. And I know I will not ever see my late mum's special brooch, a unique brooch. I mean, although it's valuable, it's more sentimental to me in the way it happened. It was deliberately, I was targeted just because of my disability in my wheelchair, and being Christmas Eve, well, it was deliberate. I know they will not put any resource in to check any real CCTV, do anything really, and there won't be anything. If it is, it will be just to show me up and to target me and use the disabilities against me. That's what usually happens, is a pattern of events. And when I had a serious crime happen in my home by my late boyfriend, platonic boyfriend, by the way, in 2012, it's serious, and I had DNA evidence and everything that went on, and the police just said it's my word against his and let them go. That is all trauma based, yeah. So they use your mental health against you. They're not meant to, by the way, and they use your disabilities against you. Well, to me they do anyway, with me. So that's always the same. And but because you have a voice, you speak up, you know your rights, you learn your rights, which I have done. I've had to, in contract law, many subjects since 2012. So I don't necessarily report anything for a long time, because what I've been targeted here by previous people and previous neighbours, before everything seems to change, everybody seems to be very self-preservation in their own situation now, the way the world is going, and there's no sense of like community anymore around here. It's for a long time. So I don't feel comfortable here anyway. But the new model and the political angle for all disabled people, all unfortunate cutbacks and services, is this model, assisted living. And it's all about bringing in all the statute law, Mental Health Act 2018, the Housing Reduction Bill or Homeless Reduction Statute Law 2017, which was implemented this year. And that means less choice for vulnerable disabled people in whatever situation you're going through. I also know personally of an individual female, and she's got a learning, actually I forgot to ring her up. Because there's so much going on Christmas Eve. I was going to call her to wish her Merry Christmas, and she goes through a lot of herself, bless her heart. She's been a long, good friend of mine. Although we don't see each other as much anymore, it's more communication online, on the telephone. So, I will see if she's around, but the thing is, I don't go out and about, let alone with the cold weather. I do not able to get in and about as I used to. But that's not going to stop me from what my ambition will be for forthcoming year. It's going to be tough for thousands of disabled people, even more. And what the universal credit and all. Well, I'm going to try and get my health stable somehow, miraculously, I don't know yet, but there's a lot of challenges ahead, and I just found this out about the place. My experiences, it's been years of this, but the way The same individuals are in their jobs because of the pensions. Don't forget the public, the council taxes and statutory laws paying their wages, yeah? So there seems to be more protection for those working in, oh, please don't get me wrong, this is not a dig at frontline services, because they did their best in common law to save my life last September when I was streaming on Facebook then, and I suddenly had a really strange major attack of like a major stroke and of a heart attack all at once. Couldn't use any of my punch in my body at all. And that was luckily live caught on video, streaming Facebook, and my daughter-in-law saw that talking to her 1 minute and then it happened, and it went for that, I wouldn't be here. So I got nothing against the police generally. They're just trying to survive, do a job and with their families and stuff. And the lady that did was my medication. She's an ex-police lady and worked in the public services. But they are our public employees, our public, not employees, our public servants. So they do have a duty of care to the public. So where I'm coming on the angle as a disabled woman with this forthcoming video is that all due respect, I appreciate the emails, by the way. So if you do monitor this channel or watch the videos, I appreciate what you're trying to do. But I know in reality that you'll be limited to what you can do, because it all depends on resources and the time and everything else. So it'd be a pure miracle if you ever find that man with the 2 females that was in Fish Street and by that pub, and that came up to me and said, "Merry Christmas." And I found I've got one of these Olympics digital recorders, and I've got his voice. I've actually didn't realise I've got his voice. So whether or not that's going to be relevant. So I've got his actual voice of the man. So my mate's going to email the police tomorrow for me that I've got him on my digital voice recorder, his voice. But without the image on CCTV, which I gave the description and everything, but what can you do with the evidence of the voice saying that? Because you need that visual image. And I had my phone on, but it happened a split of a second, it happened to me, so I didn't think. And the way, he didn't get consent to touch my left side of my shoulder. But you see, I can't feel the left side of my body, so I didn't sense this pulling of my mum's broke of my coat. And I wanted something close to my chest, remind me of my late mum. It's sentimental as well. Anyway, it happened, the situation also bloody quick, and that's what really confused me. And I've never had that experience in that way before. I've heard about it on different stories over the years and things that happen to people, but never experienced it myself and the way it happened. And it can easily be dismissed. Oh, because you have a disability, you could have easily dropped it somewhere. I know that's coming because they just have to cover all possibilities. That's their job with the police. So obviously straight away, as soon as I noticed it was missing off my, because it's so solid, the item, and I might just do a video depending what I'm like tomorrow, my health, of the jewellery items of my late mum's to show the definition of the brooches I've still got of my late mum's, to give you the definition of what the size was, and I still got the box and the details of it and everything else that was in. And anyway, and the contents of that email that I only saw today, because I need a lot of help to read emails, to make phone calls, to do extra things I need. Now, I've had a whole blinking past year of not being offered the support services I need in the adult health social care side of it all still. And as I said, I bumped into somebody Christmas Eve, a lot of people going through a lot, and I saw pure chance today, my neighbour. I haven't seen him for months, and he's back on the drink and drugs again. He's struggling this time of year as well. I saw it in his eyes today. And he was going down to his local doctors. And this time last year, he had paint my flat. Everyone's got their own situations going through. It's very difficult for a lot of people, in not just this time of year, but specifically. And usually this time of year, I do get myself, it's really struggling, because this time of year is a reminder what happened to me, an attempt on my life years ago. So that's where my labels come from. My disabilities come from the attempt to murder. And I don't know how I'm going to get over the ID to get my compensation that I'm still owed a long time ago, because that would really help to launch my campaign for next year. My political campaign, by the way, for next year. I know it takes a lot of financial resource, but I know it all depends on my health as well, my personal situation. But I know there is I used to run a political party years ago when I was able-bodied, before things happened to me the way they did. But now I know a lot more about situations. Not an expert, but I know how the mainstream media works. I've got PR background, I've got research. I used to be a member at NUJ. I used to mix of well-known wealthy connections, people over the years. So I know a lot how these men and women and their connections work, and I know how the business app works. And I've got a sister in business, I've got a brother in business. Although we're not close, but with the right support and skills to get, it's all about what you can do nowadays, isn't it? What they keep going on about. And I like to think if I get the right support, move perhaps and get the right support locations, and look at retraining and redoing my CV, learning new skills and computers and things, I like to think I can put in practice my skills and help those who's been themselves unfortunate victims of crime and with disabilities, because what I've experienced recently is lacking of information. I don't believe it's deliberate. I believe it's just these people are struggling to try and cope with so many calls perhaps, and so many people going through so much. And yet there's lack of resources. So the information about this disability access was my mate found on this website. It was blatantly on the website. So I do not know, as again, why these call centre employees did not bother to provide that information. Anyway, found it in the end. So I did make it quite clear that I don't want to go in my life history. It's private. But I just need to give enough information so I can get reasonable adjustments. I never get that. It's meant to be in statute law, but I never get it offered. So today I found out this voice, something for, can't remember the title of it now, let me check. Voice and Witnesses Limited. It's not voice support, it's not victim support. It's meant to be initial assessment of your support needs, but I can't keep coping, and I struggle with phone calls and a lot more than I used to. So I like to think eventually in the longer term I might be better at that, who knows. But for the time being, I prefer communication by email. And that's when all these days I'm usually bedbound and so unwell, I can have my private friends who try to do their best to care for me at the moment, to check my emails and stuff like that. Now, I'm very conscious, aware of how statute law works of adult safeguarding. And I know about the Care Act, Section 42, and how that works. Right, so this particular point I'm about to mention was not available and wasn't informed to me. It's been operating since 2009. So my disabilities have not gone away. My physical disabilities reduction by 2010. My psychological disabilities started since I survived. I'm a survivor of that attempt on my life. That's where my labels started to come from. So the mental health, psychological disability doesn't define one. There's trauma related, as my unfortunate situation. And no matter what talking therapy, what pills people try and give you, medically wise, it doesn't help necessarily in the long term. So when you finally learn, and it takes many years, by the way, to get a realize when you go down a certain path in life, it's not going to help when you're just reacting to what's happened to you. And you might experience re-traumatizations and certain things happen to you. It wasn't until the death of my mum that I realised certain things about in myself, for example, I changed. I have to, in my own way. But the thing when I'm dealing with the same people I've known for years, and oh gosh, there's a situation, certain things I've linked up from past years to date that I know about now, and what was behind certain things, setups, scenarios that was going on. I won't bore you all the details, but I know a lot more now. It's all to do with certain individuals behind the scenes. I stumbled pure chance on information because I've got a research background. That's what I was good at. And just because of the reduction in my health now, I can't do as much as I used to. But I stumbled across connections, who's connected to who, my community, and politically, and using the public purse to do it. And I was never wanted to fame anybody. I was very conscious of that and careful. But they would go after my character assassination. And then they started, oh my goodness me, I didn't even realise how my own family members would be doing this behind the scenes. They had their own way in their religious point of view to do things, but they didn't realise the bigger picture, the damage it would do. Because when you go down rabbit holes, you learn subjects, you realise eventually to cut out their conspiracy theories, it's no good. You need to go on facts. That's what the system goes on, facts. That's what the police do, they go on evidence and facts. If there isn't solid evidence, then in the bigger picture, what they call it, the criminal, what's it called, CPS, Crown Prosecution Service. It's all called something different now. But they go on that, and if it's not tight-knit case or evidence of fact, or they call this a reliable witness. So how my friend, I go back to her with the learning disability, they will look at an individual's medical and mental health and disabilities and determine whether or not they're going to be a reliable witness in a court, Ministry of Justice, in statutory law system. Okay? If you can beat out that court system, the better. But when you've actually been a victim of crime and you reported something, then the tables are turned on you. So I've had experience where I've reported threats by 3 blokes before, years ago, in a situation, all on camera, and I had the evidence and I had an independent witness, and yet they turned the tables on me. So yeah, they ain't going to do nothing for me. That was premeditated because I saw 2 off-duty police, well, they're public servants, I won't go into all the details, ages ago. My neighbour still lives near me. He's well connected to certain people politically I know for years, and now one's the mayor of the town. I won't go into all that because that's a different story another day. It's up to them what they want to do. As long as they don't trouble me, I don't bother with them. I mind my own business, get my own, trying to make do, my own situation now, and keep low profile. But what keeps happening, unfortunately, over the period of time I've been here is nothing but target me. I keep journals. So I keep diaries, and I got a good memory for dates. So I know who's done things, and there's a pattern of events. So had I not seen this particular other website about people, not just with learning disabilities, but the word vulnerable, if you look at what that means, and you look at definitions of disability can mean how you specifically feel and are, but the training of these men and women in the job roles and public services have standardized training. So it could be like the NHS system is all privatised now, the adult healthcare system, the way it's working now, the ambulance crew, the way the NHS trusts, the way their services all digitally, all online services now. So there's no real personal services at all. It's all to do automated computerization now. That is very difficult for those with different types of disabilities that cannot cope with technology. They cannot cope with the aspect of projects maybe set up to try and help certain communities in one's areas. But there's not one size that fits all. So unfortunately, what happens, with my experience, is one's tick box exercise. So unless you meet a tick box for a certain situation, one may not be automatically assumed that if you can come across reasonably articulate on the phone, there's assumption that you might not require of services. So perceptions can be taken out of context, and that's what's my experience by certain individuals. So I'm very good at masking my disabilities because I don't like to be a burden on anybody, and it's not masking or hiding, it's just I like to try and do what I can. And there are days where I have to, okay, I need the help, so I put it out there trying to access services, and I've been blocked. But it's not personal, because when I found out recently, as I said, at Christmas Eve, I bumped into somebody I know works in a certain field, and she informed me what's going on behind the scenes in certain areas, and it's given me information which will not particularly get a remedy on a situation I'm still going through. But this is what's happened to me is not going to deter me for trying to carry on with what I'm trying to do. It's just frustrating because this lovely individual I spoke to the other day, Victim Support National, it's there 24 hours a day, the phone line, and it's very important if you need to call them. Because that individual I spoke to I wasn't aware that there isn't no such thing in one's area anymore. So when I found out about a company's house, my mate did the check today, voice and witnesses is not a service in itself per se. Voice and Witnesses is a limited company, and the CEO is a female. I've got it written down, the information. And the other director, the funding of this is from, in statute laws, known as Crime Commissioner. And I found out who he's connected to. Right, there's 2 locations. One's up in the head office. They still got the land, or public owns that land. I thought it was sold off by now. They've got a new criminal justice centre for those that are to be taken. They still use a certain police stations. Some of these are old buildings, and it's not wheelchair accessible, especially for my situation, all the rooms. So why on earth these call centre employees said, you may require to go and visit them? All due respect, no. They didn't even make if you're a vulnerable witness or vulnerable, unfortunate, their terminology, victim of crime, they have to make these reasonable adjustments. It's in the code in Ministry of Justice nationally in UK, in statute law. My mate downloaded the document, and it states clearly in black and white what they're meant to offer. And this is what absolutely was frustrating, found out on top that they did not do that. And on this area's website of the place, right, it states disability access information. Before I even knew about that website or even looked at it, when I was in that place reporting the crime on Christmas Eve, right, I straight said, and even when I got home, I was still in shock, and I was from the effects of what's happened to me, and I still made it clear that I need this reason, I need, support, I've got disability needs. And then there was no identifiable voice messages without identifiable, like what's your collar number, even if you're a civil servant without being the official peace officer in your job role as a public servant, police officer. If you're a call handler, you still have a collar number because you're taking the calls and you're representing as a public, the first point of access for the public to ring. You're meant to give your collar number. You want our details, but you don't provide that anyway. That's beside the point right now. The point is this other terminology is used as like a keepsafe card. You don't need a referral for that service. So my mate downloaded that document form and they're all linked in. It's a good idea if it works. They've been operating since 2009. And they call it a learning disability board. Politically, by the way, you might, and they're the right. So you've got, in my area, for example, you've got Mind Charity, you've got East Midlands Ambulance, you've got the police, you've got the county council, you've got certain other public funded services. So all public funded services, and individuals might be skilled in their areas on that board. But the problem is the word learning disability. Well, then the section went into vulnerabilities and the definitions of these key words and those documents. It was quite informative. So that email, this force control room individual female claimed in her email yesterday, and only just read it today, was nothing to offer me that reasonable adjustment. And she put an individual employee's male's name in the email, but I don't need to be referred to them. I could easily download that and get it printed out. My mate can try and help me another day and to get it sent off. And it is the Crime Commissioner's Office employees that deals with that document. So unless, and the next thing you need, if you've got a family member you trust to put your details down, if you've got a social worker, all these key people who your carers are. Now, my private friends are there on my carers. So the problem is I won't be able to do that because until I'll get a yes or no if I'm going to be offered public services with my high complex disability needs, which I'm still not been getting. So it's not just that straightforward, but it's a problem. The thing is, the information I'd like to know to see if that frontline call centre employees have that information on their computer system so they can readily provide that information at the first point of access when you're reporting a crime. I don't know what terminology they have to, they're meant to offer. Once they check that your details, surely if there's a vulnerable individual within the community, surely the police intelligence have that information and it will come up on their system as a vulnerable adult. So see what service could be offered. So this is email, this is the phone number, or refer somebody on to such and such to get their permission, of course, on the phone. But if that individual is vulnerable and cannot give that information, whatever the type of disabilities they have, then it needs to be highlighted. A particular service might be relevant to try and send a letter or something in the post. Or information should be available to the public to help that family member or oneself to know what's available. And that wasn't. So this is a period, I know it's Christmas, New Year period, but I wondered how many other people in the United Kingdom experience this. Or is it just isolated in my area? So that's where I am right now. For example, experience, I appreciate that initial investigation. I know it won't go nowhere. And I will not be going to no police station, by the way. I can't even bloody get out my own on my own. I need a lot of support, my medical situation and other unseen personal disabilities nature. If I can't get to medical for another subject of another public service offer, then you won't get me going to any bloody public building on my own. I offered to see this McDonald place to meet sort of like a peace officer because I felt more comfortable in that environment. I know it, you see. I have to know an area or like a local cafe. I know the route to go there, but I have all this extra support just to get there. It's very complex. But eventually I like to think I'll get better about all that. This what happened to me ain't gonna put me off. So don't believe you public servants, anybody watching this, that you can this ain't gonna put me off. Trying, to keep carrying on my path and journey, to keep carrying on, trying again, as this channel says, to keep going on. But I shall think about the support when I'm able to after this new year and the bad weather, and depending on the circumstances, my health obviously comes first. And I would like to think that I'm not just a voice for all disabled people. I just like to think this information needs to be better structured and better available so that it supports those experienced victims of crime, with disabilities, or their loved ones or family members, or especially people like myself and my age group, and who don't have automated support network with family or friends. So it wasn't a shock, but I had that gut feeling something wasn't quite right. And you don't get a bloody harassing phone call on Christmas Day. I made it quite clear it won't be available. Whether or not you celebrate the season or not, you set the boundaries. You have to make it clear to these public servants that work for the public, excuse me, you didn't do this. I will be able to get back to you when I'm able to, but that email was presumption that I will contact you. Well, you won't, because that phone number will be changed in the new year. You will have an email, but I won't consent for our phone calls, and I will make sure I'll get someone available that you communicate through. I will cooperate best to my ability, and but I will not be targeted again by the negligence and lack of actions of cooperation, because nobody turned up when I got run over in 2009. I had 9 witnesses. I've got all this evidence and medical evidence and the ambulance crew records and everything to date. I might be out of time to see the police what happened that day, but because if you did your job, not specific individual, if they'd done their job properly, and the professional standards individuals, I know who's now is the actual chief constable. I dealt with him in bloody 2000 and something. He was an ordinary PC and then a detective sergeant, DCI then, Simon. And he did nothing for me, my son, years ago. Something happened. And now he's in charge in his job, public high profile role. So, you don't, I'm sure he's a nice individual, and I read his profile, and on my mate's got a LinkedIn business connection app, and she did a search and found quite impressive history, training. So I'm sure these people mean well in their jobs, and but they are paid by the public, and they've got private pensions, private health insurance when people are struggling to get anything on the NHS, isn't it? So it doesn't need to be a double standard anymore. It's up to all new members of the public. So whatever your situation is, I'm not being disrespectful. They want to be Freemasons, mates of mates, whatever. But you don't use my situation and target me unlawfully in ways which I know is a breach of your oath of office. Civil servants have a code. For example, if they're like social workers, they're members of such and such, healthcare professionals. But when you're dealing with the police, Ministry of Justice, look it up online. they have an oath of office, they're sworn. Their oath of alliance to the police is mainly, the police service is mainly to the Queen, isn't it? The Crown. Crown prosecution is the Crown. And no disrespect for that, but when you have a history and you know what's gone on before, and you don't report anything because of that, well, hold on, no, I'm not going to give up now, because obviously I'll be honourable and lawful and due diligence, best of in my ability, but I will not be mistreated again by any public servant in the job role. As a public, they have a duty, whether they're political in their so-called voting, people think they're voting for a crime commissioner. It's all pre-set up, and unfortunately my area is conservative, so it doesn't help. But anyway, I'm not political, I'm just about the point about people getting the right service when they need it at the right time and the right way. And I like to think that if there's miscommunication, they need to correct that. And it's not up to the individual that's experienced this type of crime. In statute law, common law, it's like a tort. It's all about resources now, and it's all about the key right communication. And obviously, that's out the window. I had to but I had to investigate with help to find out. I know about how people can be profiled. I know with the digital age now, the profiling, I know how it works. I'm not expert, but I know what's going on behind the scenes, all that. The smart technology, look, come on, with the 5G type CCTV systems, they know exactly, they have intelligence, and this is the bigger picture, not just my area, this is national. United Kingdom, around the world. This is all interlinked the way things are now anyway. So this phone keeps blinking, so I bet they'll just blank out this stream. It doesn't bother me, because at the end of the day, I know what's factual and I know what's true, and I know that individual it's just reward what's happened to me. Like anything happens to me, it happens for a reason. So this experience has given me that different path and a different reason to say, well, hold on, something's missing, something isn't right, the service isn't right, this is what needs to be happening, should have happened, it didn't. So no disrespect to individuals that are just trying to do their job, but I believe the training needs to be better, and there needs to be, if it is there in their computer system, I'm not there in their control room, I'm not them in their job, I ain't got their training, I'm just me. And all due respect, you don't go on Facebook to think Disabled People Against Cuts webpage, you're going to get any response or any sympathy, forget it. I'm not after sympathy, I was after logic, support, a viewpoint, and I just got there to say, like, don't question anything. It's just like my family members don't question anything. Well, I'm the one that does. I do question things. I don't take things at face value. I'm streetwise. And it's just that particular blinky night, what happened recently, you just don't think, like the police, couple of female call centres, individuals are saying, yes, unfortunately, this does happen very quickly. It's like she used a key word, I can't remember what it is now. I'm going to get off here now, get some rest, get warm. The weather's going to very change, less than a week away. Be prepared for the snow. It's going to hit. It's going to be blinking 5 degrees, really, really cold. Expensive on the gas and electricity, well, especially the gas. And that's one thing I've got my mate to do. Something important needs to be done. Anyway, thank you very much for what the police offer to do. You are, because I'm sure you might look at this video. And my mum's memories are still here, and obviously, and it's unfortunate that my so-called religious family didn't bother want to know. I let them know what happened, but I don't have Messenger app. I won't have that. That won't be restored. So I just the usual text, ordinary text, old-fashioned way of doing things. And keep safe, everybody out there. Just my experience. And if you got any experience yourself, good or bad, the ugly, whatever, please leave a polite comment, otherwise your comments will be deleted. For those that will listen or have common sense about them, you sense something ain't right and you've used the service yourself, you've had good experience, then I'd like to know either way. And generally, not just the police, but I've headed it, that title, the question mark, because changes are there, which I weren't aware, and I wished I'd known about it before. But sadly, I've hadn't needed to, you know, seek assistance from them. They are our public servants, and whether or not I'll be able to access that particular system card, disability assistance, which I'm entitled to, requirements, you know, that'll be interesting to see. God bless, keep safe, and I will keep a recording app on me all the time when I'm out, which I've done before. And as I said, this was an independent recording item that I've got my voice on. Don't know how that's going to make any difference, but I'll just know. God bless, take care. I'm signing out. You okay?